Yeah, that way. Because I'm gonna take my mask off over here.
Okay.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. There you are.
Hello, this is Dylan.
Hello.
Sorry I won't have my video up today. I'm having to join on the phone today as I'm driving.
Driving any place enjoyable?
Oh gosh, no, I just have to get to our division office a little bit earlier, so just taking the call from the phone while I multitask driving.
Gotcha.
How's everything going with you?
All right. And yourself?
Going well so far. We're surprisingly seeing just a little uptick in the COVID numbers, so just trying to feel that piece out. I don't know if y'all are seeing that as well.
Certainly. Yeah, we've gotten a couple of calls this week for people being unable to come in because they're positive. We hadn't had that in a month or two. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just the ends of spring break coming through.
I hope that's all it is.
I drove past Wash Park this weekend, and it looked like it would have been any other summer without COVID with the amount of people that were there.
Yeah, we went downtown this weekend for the first time in over a year, and we thought the same thing.
It's, everyone's having fun now. I forget who I was talking to. I was like, it's going to be like the roaring 20s when they start to open things up this summer. I think everyone's just going to go crazy for actually being allowed to be free.
I agree.
Take roll. Any aftercare.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
Sorry I didn't get on just a couple minutes earlier. Hey, while we're sitting here, Amy, and I'm looking straight at you, can you check my eyes?
Good luck with that one.
I can see your little gizmo behind you. So
Yes. We do get some manufacturers who are trying to get us to do things remotely, but it is really hard to see the inside of an eye remotely.
I can only imagine, right?
They're like, you can see this, this, and this. And then when you ask, no, you can't see that. No, you can't see that. Well, that's a way to get, in trouble. So I don't think so. You call me back when you can see it all.
Hey, Shelley, is any way you could do a roll call, please?
Yes, one moment. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can. Oh my gosh, are you guys actually meeting together in the city
10 feet
offices?
We're 10 feet apart, so.
Oh,
Okay, I'm going to take roll. Andrea Manion,
Here.
Amy Gallegos,
Here.
Dylan Rye,
Here.
Brad Nixon,
here.
Drevvis Ridley,
Here.
Judith Dunlop,
Here.
Nathan Hoag,
Here.
Steve Paul,
Here.
David Carroll,
Here?
Rita Russell, and Darren. We do have a quorum.
All righty. That is great. And I'm sorry, did Rita, is she not checked in yet? I missed that.
We believe she's out of town.
Okay. All right. Well, business first, let me take care of the minutes. Was there any changes to the minutes? Any discussion about, or any thing that needs to change on there? Okay, I'm seeing some shaking heads, no. Thank you, Judy, for acknowledging my question. I appreciate that. Do I have a motion to approve them?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. I appreciate that. Thank you very much for getting that done. I wanted, Andrea and Drevvis, do we have people that have come to join us that are on the call yet? Or do we need to kind of jockey things around while we're waiting for them to join us?
I don't know if my gal is here yet or not. I just got here, so Darren and Shelley sent him an invite. So I'm hoping that was followed through on, but other than that.
Looks like Danielle's on the line with us as well.
Is she? Okay.
Okay. And then Andrea?
I'm not sure about Austin. I assume Darren and Shelley invited him.
We did.
Okay.
Austin, are you on the line? Who's on the phone with
Yeah.
2914?
I see a phone number.
That's Dylan.
Dylan, thank you, Dylan. So it looks like Danielle is on the line for sure. And Danielle is from the, help me out, Danielle, name your business. Broadway Shot Spot.
Yeah.
Yes, I am from Broadway Shot Spots.
Okay. Well, Andrea, or excuse me, Drevvis, I'm going to let you introduce her, and then when Austin comes on, we can do the same when Austin joins us. But let's start with Drevvis, please.
All right. I needed to unmute myself there. Danielle, I didn't write down your last name, and my phone has everything on it, and we're zooming on. But it is Broadway Shots Spots, I believe.
Yes, Broadway Shot Spot.
Oh, there you go. And we approached Danielle with the survey that we did last October. You followed up with it, and then you said you were willing to talk with us if we called you back and asked questions. You had such good report that it was very exciting to hear somebody had a good report. But we wanted to check up with people, and you were in a unique position because you also have businesses in other counties, and we wanted sort of a compare, not that we want to be better, but we do want to be better.
Right.
But just so we know what we could do different, it's right to help you out.
Sure. You can see I'm at my bar right now. I'm actually working, but I'm totally socially distanced. That's why I took my mask off just so I could talk to you guys. I might have to cut my camera here in a minute though, just because I am working. But yes, I own 4 restaurant and bars across the metro area, and by far, Englewood, the response, the support, you guys nailed it. I don't know who's all on this call. I don't know if this is council or I don't know who's on this call, but Englewood nailed it. And I am extremely appreciative of your efforts, of the calls, of the grant money, the process of getting the grant money, a very short, simple, to the point application, and really just not making it harder on us than it already was, or wasting our time. And I can't sing enough praise. I can tell you that for me to speak out the way that I have, there is one city that I am so upset with on the way that they've handled it, that I'm actually running for city council in that city. So if that gives you any indication on how appreciative I am, I cannot sing enough praise. I have owned a bar in Englewood now. It'll be 13 years this December. And really, thank you all. Anybody, any council members, anybody on this call, thank you, thank you, thank you. Can't sing enough praise about Englewood.
Danielle, I do have a question. Where are your other locations at?
Sure, I have this one in Englewood, and then I have one in Sheridan, and I have 2 in Aurora. One of the ones in Aurora is on like the Aurora Denver cusp, and it kind of I deal with Denver on a lot of things for that one too. So basically I deal with Denver, Aurora, Englewood, and Sheridan, Denver County, and Arapahoe County. Okay.
Can you tell us a little bit about your business model? What is there something unique about it? Are you kind of a traditional bar? What can you say?
Sure. I mean, well, so my bars, just show you over here. I don't know if I can flip my camera, but a lot of darts. So a lot of darts go on. 3 of my bars have darts. You know, a couple of pool tables. Couple of pool tables. This is the Englewood location I'm currently at, and this is actually my smallest location. But yeah, you know, pool, poker, and darts at 3 of them. The 4th location, I actually opened December 3rd during the second shutdown, and that one is just, it's a massive sports bar. You know, 20 TVs, sports everywhere. So that one's a little different than the other 3.
Can you tell me if you were closed at any or all of your locations during COVID?
During the first shutdown, yeah, I mean, I'm only one person, you know, with at that time I had 3 locations. Actually, my Englewood location, I shut it down. This is my only location also that does not have a kitchen. So this one I had to shut down completely. Unfortunately, because it's a true bar. There's no kitchen here. So I had to shut it down completely until they came out with if I attached myself to a restaurant. And that's kind of where it started for me, dealing with Englewood, as far as, you know, I had to send in my plan and how I was going to get food here and what restaurant I was attaching myself. And there just wasn't all this red tape. It was no BS. It was straight to the point. Tell us what you're going to do. Great. Get open. Work with this restaurant. Get open. And how can we support you? And you know, so I was able to reopen during the first shutdown, attaching myself to a restaurant. and that worked out well. You know, but it was tough. I mean, it was definitely tough. It helped when we were able to do, you know, to go alcohol and stuff like that. And I called into the state. Actually, I was on that call, you know, at the state level to fight to get that extended. We won, went up against, you know, liquor store lobbyists, but we won to get that extended for 5 years for alcohol sales to remain. We can keep that to go for 5 more years. That the second shutdown, again, dealing with Englewood, just leaps and bounds above everybody else. And I really have to give a huge shout out to Jackie McKinnon for being a huge part of this. The second shutdown, when we were allowed to, you know, have these patios in our parking lots and stuff like that. I can show you what I did here. What I did was, you know, I have my area barricaded. You can see, you know, my barricade, and then I have a tent here. You can see my tent, and I have tables and chairs, and I have, you know, some lighting in here that you can see. So at night I have some lighting, and so I did that, you know, for the second shutdown, and I just had sort of this like outdoor area, but it kept me afloat. And Jackie had this to me. Jackie had the approval for the liquor license permit extension. I mean, maybe 3 hours, maybe 3 hours, you know. So that's what I have going on. And I mean, that's how I've gotten through it. But like I say, I cannot sing enough praise to whatever powers that made this happen, this grant money with such a minimal. I mean, it was maybe a page and a half, you know, of questions of how I was going to use money, stuff like that. And then a letter, I just emailed tax and licensing and said, hey, can I just get an email back from you that says I'm in good standing, I'm current with my tax. I had that email in maybe 45 minutes tops, and a check in the mail to me, you know, the next day. I'm going to tell you, in Aurora, this CARES money, this grant money that they put, was a 30-page application that I had to go take to get notarized. While everything shut down. When are we going to get a notary? And I'm busy out delivering food at my locations that have kitchens. I mean, I could tell you on and on and on about how it was like in other cities and other counties, but Englewood really nailed this. And I don't even care the political makeup of the powers that be. Thank you to all of you, every one of you. You really stood out. You really impacted me, I'll tell you. And I'm very vocal about Englewood now. Very.
Thank you.
So do we have any questions? Amy, go ahead.
I just want to say thank you for sharing your story. You know, especially in this day and age, it's hard to get out and hear from people. And so I really appreciate how candid you've been. And I'm so happy to hear that you are doing well and you are expanding, and that now maybe you're on our team a little bit. Yeah, go Englewood.
Yeah, you guys have an ally for sure. You guys need anything, I really, you know, if I can pay it forward, I certainly can't pay it back. I needed every bit of that money that you gave me. But if I can pay it forward, if I can do anything to stand up for Englewood, stand in for Englewood, help out in any way, please reach out. Drevvis has my email address. It's also, of course, on file with my liquor license at the city. Jackie McKinnon has my information. Please consider me an ally, and reach out if you ever need.
Danielle, real quick question. David Carroll from the Englewood Chamber here. Council is considering, which makes sense, to rescind the emergency ordinance, which will basically take away our city manager's sole responsibility for some of these things. But what will also happen, and many of the bars and restaurants are talking about, is that would remove the outdoor patios and the alcohol district, I guess, is that what we're calling it? Did you obviously took advantage of the outdoor patios. Did you also take advantage of the outdoor district or the alcohol district? I think
no, I mean, when I first heard about that, I was so excited. I was like, well, Bourbon Street in Englewood, you know, people are just going to walk down. No, I didn't use that at all, because it was still, you know, the drinks had to be sealed. And so basically, you know, somebody could leave here and they could walk up and down the street with a sealed container still. It really didn't make sense to me. I couldn't wrap my brain around that one. And I wasn't going to chance the liability. I thought it would be something cool like Bourbon Street, where like each bar, each restaurant would have their own kind of signature cup and could pour a drink. And I had Bourbon Street. When I heard that, I went immediately to Bourbon Street. So I didn't take advantage of that at all. I'm not even sure how I make sense of that. The outdoor patio space, I did, and obviously still do. I showed you, you know, my setup.
Do you consider that a longer term process to your business, the outdoor patio, or do you see that going away at some point?
Another city I have one set up in, they've extended it to October, the end of October. We're at October 31st of this year, before the outdoor permit expires. And I don't know what their vote will be after that, you know, if they'll extend it, if they'll not extend it. But as of right now, we're at October 31st.
Great. Thank you.
Well, thanks for sharing, Danielle. I was going to ask you, is there anything else you think Englewood could have done to help or support you, or anything that it could have been improved on from your experience?
You know, that's a tough call. Being in my situation, of course, you can imagine, I wasn't happy. It's a tricky situation. You know, of course, I realize there's a pandemic going on. We all realize there was a pandemic going on. Nobody wants to, you know, endure loss of life or contribute to getting people sick. But, you know, then to just take away someone's income, you know, poverty can also lead to death as well, you know, so it's a slippery slope. And for me, what I have loved to see more politicians, more people stand up and say, this is insane, you know, open our businesses. Of course, I would have loved to have seen that. I don't think that that's any sort of slight against Englewood. I think that's more of the mindset of being an owner, a multi-location owner in the service industry. I think Englewood went above and beyond. And like I said, I have other locales to compare it to, and I think that Englewood went above and beyond, and really that's all I could say. What more could Englewood have done? I don't know.
Danielle, I did want to tell you a little bit about ACE, so that you know, for your benefit, and then if there's anybody else kind of in your circle that you want to point in our direction, that would be great also. But the Alliance for Commerce in Englewood is kind of an adjunct to City Council, where we are helping council as a commission, a board or commission within the city of Englewood, kind of represent the business entities, and to be able to have, for the businesses to have a voice that directly has the ability to speak to council. We normally do have a council member sitting with us, but she's not with us today. She's good about reviewing videos and stuff, so I'm sure she'll listen back through and hear the comments that you've made. So I'm sure she'll really appreciate your thank yous to her and other people within the city. To a large extent, we do a lot of the same things as the chamber, but right now we have a lot more broader view of the entire business community within the Englewood area. And we appreciate you responding to our survey. That did help us. We passed that information on to the South Metro, or yeah, the South Metro, the SBDC, which is actually in Aurora. So you might have worked with those people in the past. So that's been very helpful. I know you got to keep doing your business, right?
Yeah, I gotta work. I get to be open, so I gotta work. But yeah, please pass my praise along. And yeah, I will always, you have an ally in me for sure. Anything Englewood needs. And thank you for having me today.
You bet. And I also wanted to ask, what do you kind of see as your go forward biggest challenge, say over the next 6 to 12 months?
Well, I don't know. Every day it's changing. Tri-county, it's really just keeping up with the times, with the guidelines. At the state level, the mandates have expired, but now Tri-County has picked them up, and now Tri-County is adding another color to the dial, level clear. It's enough. Keeping up with this, just tell us what we're doing. And like, again, I don't think that comes from the city level. I think that the powers that be in each city that make up the counties for Tri-County, we need more transparency. This is enough. Adding colors and you're doing that's the hardest part, really, is keeping up with these guidelines.
I have a question. I'm curious, what kind of scrutiny did you have from different agencies, or whether the state or CDC, commenting on how you were doing things?
I will tell you that, and I don't know if they just called every owner in every city. I don't know, but I got calls from the city, I got calls from Tri-County on locations. I got calls from the state on 2 of my locations, one of them being different than Tri-County had called on. And one city decided that they were going to run enforcement militaristically and send their tax and licensing office in with bulletproof vests on and body cam. So that was lovely. Tri-County and the state, I never saw anyone. So I don't know if it was like, if someone didn't have proof, because a lot of people just called in. I mean, they just called in. People thought this was the greatest thing. It was their due diligence to call in on this bar or this restaurant. So I don't know if it was like, if they didn't have physical proof, they didn't show up, but I was never truly visited by anybody. I just got some calls, except for this one city that they decided to run their own enforcement.
Danielle, this is could you give us the address of your location?
The Englewood one, sure. It's 4011 South Broadway. And I'm in this strip where one of my best friends, I'm from Aurora, born and raised in Aurora. And Woody's Wings started in Aurora. That family and I grew up together. And Ashley, who owns this location over here, she's just a couple years younger than me, one of my great childhood friends. She wanted to expand outside of Aurora. And I said, Ashley, come to Englewood, come to Englewood. Oh, I don't know anything about Englewood. I said, well, move in next to Broadway's. I don't have a kitchen. You'll make a killing. We'll make a killing. We'll work together. So this is a really great shopping center, little corner over here with the wing place and then the axe throwing place and the bar. And it's really fun over here. And I got Woody's moved in last year.
My husband and I owned a bar in the 80s. The fact that you've got 4 of them, quite an accomplished business owner, and thank you very much for all your kind words. Best of luck going forward.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. I'm going to get back to work. Thank you again for your time, but please remember, you have an ally. If you need a voice, if you need me to stand in or stand up for Englewood, I'm here. just reach out.
Danielle, thank you very much for being part of our meeting and good luck.
Thank you so much. Bye, guys.
Thanks,
Thank
Daniel.
you.
Bye.
Andrea, can I get you to introduce Austin?
Yes, we have Austin here. Hi, Austin.
Hello, everyone, pleasure to be here. Thank you, ACE members, for having me.
If you want to just start off about telling us about your business or showing us around if you're there.
Yeah, I'll start us off with a quick tour. I'll keep it short and sweet for you guys so you can get any questions going that you might have. Bear with me too, I'm doing this on a laptop, so it's going to be in reverse. So right now I'm hanging out in what we call our education and relaxation room. We have some younger students that through the pandemic, we're doing some private schooling and outside outsourced third-party mentoring and that sort of thing. So we wanted to be able to provide a spot for kids that might be participating with us or back and forth with the mentor or private school, so they could stay on site. And if, there's someone that has some, not necessarily disabilities, but special needs, they need to have some extra exercise or wiggle room between study sessions or chunks of 30-minute focus, breakups. This kind of helped those students out. Let me get up and show you guys the rest of the gym. It's in a nice beanbag there. It's tough to climb out of. As we come out here, we've got a little kitchenette break room for some employees to have snacks and, hang out between classes and coaching. Our front desk entrance area with Mariah here. Hello, everyone. And all of our pro shop merchandise for our students with apparel and gear and everything. Events, some hangout space and areas, and some beverages. The hangout area says a lot about us. A lot of businesses out in this Denver metro area and this style of gym stuff, we'll call it, don't really want you to have a hangout area. They want you to get in, do your stuff, and leave right away. So we're a bit more community-based than a lot are. Little check-in system here. And back where the magic happens in the gym. This is obviously the beef of the business, everyone. So we've got some students hanging out. We've got a big, beautiful open mat space. We put a lot of work into this facility. It was kind of not the nicest looking or smelling place at first. We do kickboxing and Muay Thai and boxing and jiu-jitsu. So we've got all sorts of different punching bags and pads, as well as lots of fitness stuff. This is something fun if anyone hits the gym. This is a 100-pound medicine ball. Good luck finding one of those, a big blue one. And a little private fitness area for our students to utilize and for personal training. And some restrooms over there with some flip-flops. Big on hygiene. Don't ever go into bathrooms bare feet. Please and thank you. And just some storage area for the students and their equipment. And our belt rankings with some pictures of the owner and some belts and certifications for our instructors and staff members. So one last look around. And we're also very glad to be members of the Englewood community. I can't imagine what it would be like to be in the big city, referring to Denver, obviously. Englewood's just a lot smaller and more tight-knit and relatable. you guys all seem more of like my people and group than, you know, downtown Denver. So very glad to be in the community. Oh, and back into the beanbag I go.
Great. And can you talk about how COVID affected your business? Did you have to close down? And if you took advantage of any of the Englewood grants and how that went for you?
Yeah. So obviously, being a martial arts gym, we definitely shut down. Man, it was kind of tough. Open, close again, open up with limited capacity raises, you know, we adjust, kind of like the last business owner said. It is kind of tough keeping up with all the regulations. As long as you're following all the rules and precautions, you know, it's more or less just seeing how free you're being let up to be. So I don't know, it's not that tough checking in to be like, oh no, now we have to wear hazmat suits. You know, there's nothing crazy like that. It's all kind of easing back. But that definitely is relatable on our end too. And we did take advantage of the Englewood grants, and that was very helpful, especially opening, you know, let's say January 1st of the year of the pandemic, you know. Wasn't the best time necessarily looking back at things, given you can't predict any of it. But yeah, that was helpful. And it's nice to be in an area like Englewood too, where that money might stretch a little bit further than like downtown Denver, you know. So another reason I'm a big fan.
Hey, Austin, David here. Good to see you again. Can you talk a little bit more about your programs with school kids?
Yeah, so for a while, we were working back and forth with Clayton Elementary. We were going to try to provide some local services to the public schools. Unfortunately, the funding wasn't quite enough to cover the entire bulk of what the process would have been. It covered about 3/4, so it almost panned out. What we're doing with our private students, we were going to try to emulate with the public schooling. We've got 50 something grappling dummies, you know, and given with the Zoom circumstances, a lot of the kids weren't getting any sort of physical education at all, you know, let alone some of those children, the only good somewhat balanced diet they get is at school, you know, otherwise they're just smashing Cheetos at home. So we wanted to try to do that for the local community. It would have been awesome and they would have had a ton of fun. Didn't quite work out, but we are able to do a lot of that with some students that are homeschooled because of the pandemic, or that have sought out private schooling, or like I said, private mentoring. There's all sorts of alternative educational paths nowadays that I didn't have in small town Iowa growing up. But it's cool to see all of these and to be able to help them out. So like I said, some of the students don't necessarily benefit from sitting in a desk for 7 hours a day. So it's nice for them to sit down and focus on their work in, you know, the education room, and then go do 30 to 45 minutes of jujitsu and exercise and come back for another hour of focus. And, you know, they don't necessarily get to spend all day here, but even a 3-hour chunk has been highly beneficial for a couple of handfuls of kids. So it's something that I would like to try to continue to investigate giving back to, you know, more of Englewood and the public schools as well.
If you don't mind telling us how long you've been in business and how many students you had before the pandemic hit, please.
Yeah. So when the pandemic hit, when did it hit, guys? Let's say March, maybe. And the pandemic hit, we had maybe close to 70 members, ballparkish. And we had only been open for a few months prior to that. Things were going really, really well for us. But that's kind of because we know the secret to the sauce of the martial arts gym business. Luckily, this isn't my first rodeo. I'm young, but I'm the co-owner with my lifelong Muay Thai coach, who is a gentleman in his, late 50s, about to turn 60. And I've been with him since I was 15. So we've already been in and around this sort of thing for quite a while. So it was a hot start, and then a really rough halt, obviously. But we were very lucky that the community members we have as students had been very supportive. A lot of them chose to continue to pay their full membership and not a freeze fee or a cancellation, because they love the service that we provide and are thankful for us, frankly. So that was a big help.
How has your business model been altered by COVID? I mean, I know there's the obvious things, but if I would have asked you, in 2019 versus right now, how do you see the trajectory and maybe day-to-day activities of your business being different?
Yeah, so in all honesty, I would have said we started to put the year 5 plans into year 2 and push the year 2 plans back to year 5. So typically I would have tried to maximize the traffic flow and student numbers and base. And then once we had a big solid core, I would look into alternative channels like education and colleges and, all sorts of different avenues that martial arts could definitely be a part of. I mean, I took golf class in college, so probably would have been better spent learning something a little. I take that back. Some of you guys are big golfers. I almost slammed golf. But point being, instead of trying to overflood the gates and then seek those alternative channels, we kind of had to adapt and move those channels earlier, which now, assuming everything is going to go back to normal and resume to our daily lives, that might help us with our growth, obviously, because now we have entered some of those additional channels that could pan out pretty nicely. Hopefully.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Good luck. Yes.
I didn't catch where you're located.
We are right by the Oxford light rail station. We're in a little light industrial business by, I think Uray is how you pronounce it. And like the Farland Classic cars, right over in that area, kind of behind the Earth Treks. So we're kind of tucked away and hidden. We're definitely not on Broadway hooting and hollering, we're kind of secluded a little bit from the main road.
Austin, can you tell me a little bit about that location, and has it been good for you? Have there been any challenges with being in that location?
Yes, there has. We didn't necessarily start off on the right foot with our landlord. Things panned out. So location wise, rough start right away. That being said, I kind of like being secluded. There's a lot of extra distraction when you're on, the main road. Obviously, I'd love to be on Broadway and have people flooding in the doors all the time. But that also gives extra, chaos and hectic stress. And this is a place where we focus on education and growth. So we're not really seeking a big, crazy environment. Another thing I do like about here is there's lots of parking. We all know that can be something difficult owning a business on Broadway. And if you're a gym, you definitely are going to need parking. So having kind of a little bit of a low stress environment has been nice for the students. You would hope for something a little bit more public to the eye, as an advertiser. But all locations have their pros and cons. So it's been pretty good so far. We like it here.
Has the public transportation, since you're so close to the light rail station there, been a plus for you? Do you see students coming in via light rail?
Typically, analyzing demographics, you wouldn't expect that to be a big bonus, mostly because if someone's going to have expendable enough income to do martial arts as a hobby, they're probably going to have some wheels too. But the city life, some people have different choices of riding a bike and using public transportation. Not many of those students have shown up, but we have had a couple of students that, my favorite thing of martial arts is meeting people. They were very respectable people that I don't know what their previous life circumstances were, but they were in kind of a tough spot at the time, but still would manage to scrounge up the money to take the light rail and come and pay a membership. So, it has introduced us to some cool members, but as a business, it hasn't served a huge financial purpose or benefit.
Can you tell me, as you're looking forward over the next 6 to 12 months, what you think your biggest challenges are going to be?
I think that's more or less not on us as a business. I think our challenge is on the citizens and their comfortability levels. I think we're the kind of business that, you're not going to really attract any super weenies, you're kind of up close and personal. And we have people that you would never would imagine would have the confidence to come do something like this. So that's not necessarily what I intend by the word weenie, but I think people just resuming normal lives and not being quite as, scared of being out in public again is going to be the biggest confrontation we'll face. There's not a lot of things we can do for that. A lot of that just depends on the individual. But we can always be welcoming and friendly and have open arms. So
I suspect you have some extraordinary challenges, since everything you do is all about kind of close personal contact with people in a fighting situation, if they're not training, that is, with a dummy or something, but not me. But that probably is, a challenging part to your model.
Yeah, it definitely is. Things will fall off during clinch and someone's grabbing your ears and pulling it down. We certainly do our best to accommodate to all rules and circumstances, just like you would in a fight, but when things get going crazy, you might let a wild punch loose and apologize after, we try to treat it like your belt in jiu-jitsu. You start with your belt and you finish with your belt. And in the middle of the round, if your belt comes off, you finish your round so you don't get injured by not paying attention to what's happening in front of your face. And then you grab it and you retie your belt and you finish with it. So definitely has been challenging for the members, because a lot of the people and types of people we get aren't necessarily hiding in a cave. They tend to be a little bit more courageous, fun people, or can be once they open up. So we've had a couple of people share some words with us, but what business hasn't,
I'd be curious to hear what you think the best part about Englewood is for you as a business and you coming into work every day.
I love Englewood for the community factor. Like I said, you all are my people. I grew up in a pretty relaxed, blue collar area originally. And so downtown Denver and the hustle and bustle of the big city and corporate life and button up everything with a tie, and you want to talk to me for an hour, well, you better pay me this money because nothing's free down here. Englewood is just a little bit more like home for me. Growing up with my family, we always focused on hospitality and communication, and that is not easy to do in a big city. Englewood was kind of a small community we were able to show that we wanted to be a part of and help out. And Englewood's taken us with open arms. So that's something that you can't expect to receive in Denver, or probably most of the other suburbs, honestly.
We have more questions for Austin from the gang.
I'm curious, just how you drive people to your business, or how you did before. Has it been, mostly social media, or have you taken advantage of any kind of Englewood, directories or advertising?
Yeah, so obviously being a part of groups like the Chamber and hopefully ACE in the future helps, because the more people that know you, we all know how networking works. But that is kind of my specialty, is the online aspect of the marketing game, we'll say. My co-owner and head coach is like the old Mr. Miyagi. He's not gonna operate his phone to a high level of what it's capable of, so I kind of knew his specialty and my specialty, and stepped in for that side of it. And we do focus a lot on social media, just overall online traffic, and I use some little tactics and stuff I've picked up along the way to help boost us. So.
Well, Austin, thank you very much for taking some time to show us around your place and give us some feedback about Englewood and the things that are happening in Englewood. We really appreciate it. As I had mentioned earlier to Danielle, ACE has been established by City Council to help businesses to be able to create a flourishing environment in the city of Englewood for businesses. So anytime you have ideas, suggestions, or anything that you feel like that would help you and others within the city, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We want to hear what you have to say, and it's very important to us.
Thank you all for having me. I'd love to be a part of the team in the future. I'm glad again to be here in Englewood, and appreciate you guys for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Austin. Good seeing you.
Good to see you.
All right, gang. Let's see. Moving on in our agenda. First of all, do you mind if I ask anything stick out as we talk to those two business owners and the things that they had to say about business, Englewood, COVID, all of that stuff? I'd like to hear a little feedback.
Community, Englewood feels like a community, and that they have the feeling that we're here, that Englewood is here to help promote business. I thought it was pretty clear.
It's good. Also, how Englewood had a really great, an easy grant application process for all the businesses, and Englewood didn't come in full force visiting places and stuff like that. So that was really good to hear.
Yeah, I second that.
Darren, I did notice you had a big smile on your face, especially when talking to Danielle. You were kind of beaming in there with the things that she had to say.
Well, both business owners have brought a lot to the table today for discussion. So I was really glad that they were both here to, and I had, candidly, I have not met either business owner until this event. So I'm glad they were both here. Andrea, Drevvis, thank you both for inviting those businesses to the table. Danielle, it's good to hear her both businesses' experiences, but Danielle especially. She bars and businesses that were closed. Of course, martial arts was closed. This impacted a lot of folks, so they have a heartfelt story to share, both of them.
Well, moving on, I wanted to touch on the subject of vacancies that we've got coming up in the board. Just to let you know that myself, Judy, and Dylan will be terming out at the end of June. So July 1, there'll be some vacancies. And I did not hear back from you, Darren, or anybody. Actually, there was a long email trail that I kind of got lost in. It might have been embedded in there. But if any are eligible for being able to get back in for another term, and I think Judy is eligible to be able to have another term. But I was thinking more, I guess, about, well, Andrea, you're not terming out, are you?
Yeah, I was also, so July 1st. Would I think I can be reappointed? I don't know.
I nominate you.
So, Brad, a couple of things. Shelley sent out an email today with the ACE roster in there, and it's a board and commission roster. There are several vacancies on the commission. Everybody that has their term is up is eligible to reapply if they wish. I was mistaken in a comment I made earlier that one or two members may be what's called terming out. You're allowed to have 3 terms. But that's my mistake. Everybody is eligible to reapply. Positions currently available. Shelley's in the room with me, so keep me honest, Shelley. Brad Nixon, you're eligible to reapply for July 1st. Judy Dunlop, you're eligible to reapply, but your term is up, but you're eligible to reapply. Andrea, same. Dylan Ray, eligible to reapply. Your term is up. We did receive a note from Dylan. I see he's off mute. Dylan, is there anything you wish to say?
Yeah, one, I just wanted to thank everybody for allowing me to be on this committee for the last, year and a half. My role has changed a little bit within the facility since I started. And so I'm not going to be seeking reappointment on this board, despite having actually really enjoying this board and being able to speak with all of you and see what's going on in Englewood on a monthly basis. But there's somebody who's kind of come behind me and taken a role that I previously held at the facility. And so I'm going to be nominating him to potentially help be the liaison for the medical campus in the medical area upon my term expiring.
Excellent, thank you. And I believe is it Tate? Is that the person that's on?
It is, yes. His name's Tate Hegstrom.
And I believe Tate has applied for that vacant position. In addition to the positions just named, there is one vacant position that is currently outstanding. The board and commission application process involves review by city council, and their application date, I believe, is April 19th, if I'm not mistaken, Shelley, for the due date, but that's on the city board and commission website. And that council is currently advertising for those positions right now. And it's the 26th, that's the deadline to apply or reapply.
So those ACE members that are going to be going to the DDA, they can no longer be on ACE, right? Because they can only serve on one city board, or is it because the DDA is like a quasi board? Can they still be a part of ACE, or is that considered 2 different boards for the city?
Darren can comment, but my understanding is that there was no bylaw provision within ACE to keep people from participating on two boards.
And it's also my understanding that the city attorney spoke at a previous ACE meeting. Was it the last ACE meeting when Alex spoke to the group? And I believe this question came up during that meeting, as I recall. And there's council has a discretion to assign folks to two boards, but the DDA is not necessarily a board or commission. It's a separate entity. It's a separate entity from the city. But according to the city attorney, there's no, what's the word I'm looking for? No reason that there can't be service on both commissions or committees, groups.
I will not be able to serve on both. I just don't have adequate time to do both well. And so I will be, I thought that I couldn't do both. So I thought that was already said and done. But upon hearing this, I will resign then from ACE. How should I do that, Darren? Is it an email or, because if they're getting ready to do reassignments and the council is going to be appointing people and looking at all of that, I want to definitely get it in time so that they can get someone.
Good point, Amy. If you could send me and Shelley, please, an email directed to city council, we will make with your announcement. When Dylan did the same, we forward that on to council, and vacancies are accepted by council, and then that would alert the city clerk's office for this vacancy as well.
Okay.
So please send me and Shelley the email. We'll make sure it gets in council's hands. Thank you.
We'll miss you, Amy. Thank you.
Thank you. I've really enjoyed being on this board. I'm so sorry. There's just I like to do things well, and I just don't think I could do both well. So sorry. But
Totally understandable. You'll do awesome on DDA. So.
And I love your hairstyle, Amy.
Thanks.
Definitely, thank you.
Amy, a question for you. Do you want to finish out through the end of June, or would that be immediately effective?
No, I can finish out through June, and then that way they can appoint someone, and I can be happy to do that. Although I do think I'm out of town in May. Yep, I won't make the May meeting, but I can make the June one.
And congratulations, Amy, on your appointment to the DDA. So I think that's a great thing for you to be part of that. I know there's, there's 6 people on that, and I'm looking forward to see what happens, what comes out of, Downtown Development Authority.
Thank you. Back at you.
Amy, thank you. If you can please send that note, that would be great. And we'll make sure that council receives that, even if your time is in June. And that would make sure that things, because that's going to be at the end. You still have a remaining term. So that would be fantastic if you could do that.
I will do that.
Thank you. And thank you very much for your service on ACE as well. Your leadership and service, getting out and meeting with the businesses. You've done an excellent job of doing that. I appreciate.
Thank you for that.
Dylan, I want to thank you also. It's been great having you part of the board, and it's great to have some representation from Swedish and to understand what your take is on different things. So Tate has some big shoes to fill.
Thanks, Brad. I appreciate it. It's been fun, and I'm excited to see what happens in the city and kind of what you guys keep your hands in. Every time I drive around the city looking at different practices or real estate or anything, it seems like the place is just growing like crazy. And so it makes me really excited and proud to be just working in Englewood and being a part of the community. It seems to be flourishing very nicely.
Why don't we go around the horn, see if there's anything that anyone wants to add in. So anybody from the board, anything?
I don't have anything.
Me either.
Well, I
Brad.
see in the agenda, we still have election of chair and vice chair. And I'm just wondering if we should wait for the new appointments to decide that, to see who's going to be here.
Well, and I'm sorry. Yes, I missed that. My apology. It's really just to kind of put everyone on notice that we do need to do those elections. And yeah, clearly Judy and myself, we have to, make our positions be known, whether we're seeking to stay on the board. Yeah, so I think here in the next month or so, a couple months at the most, we've got to get that buttoned up so that we give a good transition come June timeframe, and then starting in July. So I think that at the latest, that vote would have to occur in June. I agree with you, Andrea, as far as waiting. I mean, if there's anything else in the way of discussion, let's go ahead and talk about that, though. Right. I'm gonna move back to my question. Is there any other board comments?
For
David?
next meeting, were we doing anything for Small Business Week in May? I don't know if we figured something out yet.
Well, that's a great question. We did ask Darren to prep that for council to sign. So thank you for reminding us about that.
Working on a proclamation to support Small Business Week that council would consider May 2nd. And we're also going to be doing a Business Resource Expo, a virtual Business Resource Expo on May 5th. So please share that out with your constituents. Shelley will, at the end of this meeting, we'll send everybody a flyer, maybe a day or so, but we'll send everybody the flyer for that. Hopefully you can get that on your calendars. It's registered through the SBDC, and this is a partnership with the Chamber and the Small Business Development Center. And we're really excited about this year's offering. Last year, we didn't have one due to COVID. It was still early in the event and we were trying to get our ducks in a row with other grants. But this year we're rolling out to learn what ARP has to how ARP will help businesses, and SBA will be there and others. So this is a great opportunity. So Small Business Week is a big deal this year in Englewood because it coincides with the expo and a proclamation. And a local business that's been a recipient of a fair amount of resources, she'll give a testimonial. So we will have a small business testimonial. Mayor Olson will be there. And we have a good lineup of economic partners at the event as well. Thanks, Andrea.
Were we going to try to do another virtual business tour next month, maybe?
I'd love to see that if we've got some people that might be able to chime in and be able to recruit some people, maybe from our call list or other people that we've talked with.
I'd be happy
Yeah,
to.
I kind of think the filling station might be interesting if anyone knows them personally that could reach out because they're a new business. So I was thinking about them the other day.
You know, I've spoken with Andy a few times. I did something with him at ACC and got a chance to meet and get to know him over 3 sessions. And he's a pretty neat guy. So I can place a call to Andy at the filling station and see if he might be able to give us a virtual tour. I'm kind of thinking, after, I was watching all this video and I was thinking, it is a virtual tour, but I was kind of thinking it was more like a cribs kind of thing. We got to see everybody's cribs, their business crib.
Yeah, although it would be better to actually go to the filling station, right? Then we could all get a drink.
When you do that,
anybody else in particular that needs to be reached out to, I'd be happy to do that. And And other than that, I would be happy to try and find one or two, just, on my own up Broadway or whatever.
Amy, did you have something to add?
No, it was just a bad joke.
About drinking?
I was gonna say, when you guys do that again, if I'm not on the board, just call, I'll meet you.
Amy wants to be an honorary member, an
Yes.
alumni.
Those ones for sure, yes.
Nathan, is there anybody that you would suggest? I know that you, the filling station is your neighbor there. Is there somebody else kind of in that area that maybe we should be talking with?
I'm not sure if we've done anything with the folks at Whiskey Biscuit, but Aaron, who's one of the owners, 3 owners, he's one of the owners. He's the guy I talk to the most. They're doing some good stuff over there, and they've stayed really committed throughout the pandemic and really creative. I think it's probably a better word than committed. And they've got a great thing going over there on the corner. So I think they would be great to invite in at some point. And then I would also recommend Cafe 180. They're going through a lot of changes, both in terms of their model and staff and all of that. They may be better to come and visit mid or late summer once they get some of the things they're working on sorted out. But they'd just be really interesting organization to hear from, since they are nonprofit and sort of quasi like service industry and simultaneously like a nonprofit, like I said. So it's a really interesting kind of mix, and I think they'd really, really fun to have.
Great ideas. Great ideas. Anybody want to reach out and talk to Aaron?
I'd be happy to, if you'd like. I'm happy to do that. Should I just invite him to join us for our next meeting, or what's the best way to do that? Okay.
I think that would be great if you could, ask him to be part of the next meeting. We haven't put together the agenda fully, so I know that there's some other stuff that we can probably be talking about, but let me go back to my notes and see what else we had. Steve, did you have something?
Oh, sorry. Is there a couple people that were talked about there that I should call on businesses, and is there a limit, like how many virtual tours, business tours we would have? Would it be like 1 or 2 or 3 or 4?
Well, we did 2 today, and I think we handily did it in the amount of time. I think we could potentially add 1 more, but it's probably best that we just keep it to 2. If you want, you can call Andy, get to know Andy at the filling station, spread the joy around. Great guy. You'd probably enjoy chatting with him.
I'll do it. Okay.
Is David still on? I was looking to see if he was still on.
He apparently has had internet issues, and he has dropped off, unfortunately, due to those internet issues. So he sent me a text saying he's trying to get back in and having problems. So I know you're going around the horn. So I think he's trying right now to resolve those. Okay.
Well, while we're waiting, Darren, do we have anything, any updates from you?
My big update was the Small Business Week celebration, and the proclamation. We're working on that pretty feverishly. Also working on a new grant that would be marketing related, using some COVID resources, so to help businesses with some marketing expenses. And that's largely as a result of some interactions with chamber members, business chamber members, saying that they need some assistance in marketing their business. As we're coming, at this phase of the COVID situation. So we're right now going to be interviewing some marketing consultants that can help with social media, branding, website updates, things of that nature, and then apply a few dollars to help businesses meet some of their marketing needs. So stay tuned. The program has not yet launched. We're getting our ducks in a row for that. And I do have an off-the-wall question while we're waiting. It looks like we have just a couple of minutes. One of the things that I'm trying to work with are some best practices around business-to-business interactions. How can we get business to business interactions, and these ACE visitations are a great business to business interaction. And we've done networking events with through the chamber, and we've also done networking events through Manufacturers Edge and manufacturers. If there's an opportunity to discuss business to business interactions and what would be a good best practice or outcome from a city involvement in any of that, I'd love to discuss that. There are many things that the cities do. I just have not bumped into folks that have been particularly successful in doing business to business connections. Chambers have done an excellent job. But how can the city be a part of a business to business initiative, B2B initiative, and be successful in that? ACE has been very much a part of that, I believe, over the years with this outreach for the ambassador role, getting the tours of businesses and things of that nature. But welcome that discussion when the time is right. And if you just want to send me a one-line email or a few line email, that would work great too.
Yeah, I just wanted to say real quick, Darren, I think like having more city events at businesses is really great. I know that one year you had that big event at the art space. I'm sorry, I forgot the name of it. But that was really great. Or like, I know you did like a manufacturing thing at Manufacturers Edge. So I think things like that and, holding more events like that when we can was definitely a great way to reach out and get people there to the businesses and knowing about them.
Thank you.
Darren, just a reminder to Nathan and Steve, if you're going to invite anyone, you need to send their email to Darren and Shelley so they can send an invite with a link for the Zoom call.
Good reminder. Thanks, Drevvis.
Darren, I did have a couple questions for you. I'm curious where the city is at with, I guess, taking over some control when the state says, hey, it's hands off for the state now, and the city is going to start, determining its own outcome. I wanted to see if you have any updates of what's been talked about, how that's going to progress.
I really do not. We're trying to, more importantly on our end, is to try to understand the new dial system, how that's going to work. I'm not aware of how that process is going to work at the local level. I think it's going to be I don't even want to speculate. I do not know that process, Brad.
Okay. Yeah, the one thing that kind of came up in our discussion with Danielle about the outdoor spaces going away, that was news to me. So, more things like that, being able to talk about kind of the pre-COVID, post-COVID, or pre-Sean, I guess post-Sean. I'm calling all the shots, the emergency order. Yeah, I think that might be helpful for businesses, some kind of summary of here's what's going to happen when this switch gets flipped. We don't know when the switch is going to get flipped, but we do know that these things for sure will occur. And if anybody has any pushback, I'd love to get that ahead of that time instead of pissing people off, that have kind of counted on that or invested in those types of things, and all of a sudden they've gone away.
Good feedback, Brad. Thank you. Yes, I will mention this to our communications folks so that as things start firming up, we can get ahead of this rather than be behind anything of that nature.
I also wanted to find out, is it tied to, or will there be any discussion about resuming face-to-face meetings for council, et cetera?
It's my understanding that council will be discussing sometime in June, opening the possibility of face-to-face meetings. Amy.
Does Amy have to head out to a patient?
You have a patient.
Sorry, they came early. I'm getting signs from the front. We can't have too many people in there. So bye guys. Have a good day. Thank you.
Bye, Amy.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Darren, do we want to wait for David to get back in, or are we okay to adjourn?
Let's go ahead, and it doesn't look like he's going to be able to join the remainder of the meeting.
Brad, can I just add one more thing really quickly before we adjourn?
You bet.
Our church is hosting a vaccine clinic this Sunday from about 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. We have about 500 Pfizer vaccines that we'll be administering. It's kind of a pop-up sort of last minute clinic, but if you'd like to get the word out to the community, the hope is that this would serve the Englewood community, whether it's people who live here or work here or what have you. So I'm going to put the link in the chat really quick. So that you have the link. And so if anybody you know or you yourself would like to get vaccinated, that's happening at our building on Acoma this Sunday, okay?
Yeah. Is there a time frame that it's happening? Is it all day? Is it in the afternoon? What is it?
Shots start at 10 a.m. They'll go till 5 p.m. and the time slots are every like 10 or 15 minutes in that time frame. So it's like 4 o'clock, 4:15, 4:30, those time slots. And we'll be doing something like, I don't forget exactly what it is, but something like 50 shots during a time slot or something like that.
And do people call ahead, or how do they reserve a slot?
I'm going to send a link, and there's like an online registration for it. So I was going to put that. I don't see a chat option at the moment, which is maybe.
Well, I'll tell you what, can you just send it to Darren, and then he can distribute it to the rest of us. And also that might be a good way for him to get it posted in other places that the city can get the word out.
I'll do that. Yeah. Thank you, Darren. I'll send that to you. And Chris at the city has already pushed it out a little bit, but I want to make sure it gets to this group specifically. So yeah, for some reason, there's not a chat feature right now, but yeah, Darren, I'll send that to you and send it to anybody you'd like. Okay. Thanks.
Nathan, that's a great thing for Sacred Grace to do, and kudos to you and the congregation for wanting to do that and figuring out how to create an environment where you can do that. So the logistics probably are a nightmare. I can't even imagine what it takes to get 50 people to give shots in a 15-minute segment. So that's great news. Okay, so we'll wrap things up, and Dylan, I guess this is a goodbye. We will see you next time we run into you at some bar or the filling station, or Amy's cameo appearance.
Looking forward to it. I'm sure we'll be seeing each other around the community.
All right. Well, thanks, guys, and until next month, we'll see you later.
Later.
Thanks, everybody.
All right,
Bye
see you
now.
guys.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye-bye.